It's BookNet Fest time! We just checked into the Drury Hotel, so we're here in Orlando. I should turn this around so that you can see the view we have. We're close-ish to Disney. This is like a Disney partner hotel. This is what we're seeing. We have this really cute little terrace, which we didn't pay anything more for. It was just like our little group rate. And then this is our room. Here is Kyle. We're one day early right now. It's Thursday. BookNet Fest is Friday and Saturday, but we like to arrive a little early. And then tonight there's going to be a panelist dinner in Disney Springs, so we're going to walk over for that pretty soon. I'm speaking on 2 panels this year, which I didn't really prepare for, but they're very like organic panels, so you don't really have to. One of mine is on like looking back on TikTok and looking at the future of TikTok and BookTok. And then the other one is how to survive and like any questions people may have about being a bookish content creator / like full-time content creator.
And I'll be running a D&D one-shot, which I'm very excited for. I did it last year as well. I learned a couple things, so I'm really excited. And I tried to make the one-shot kind of on theme for the rest of the event. So I'm excited.
I forgot to say that this year's theme is like nautical. There's like a coral reef on the logo. It's super, super cute. BookNet Fest is so fun because it's just a community event and it gathers together like all sorts of people who just love reading. So there are some authors here, but it's not like an author event. There are some authors who will have tables and they'll do signings, and the panels are kind of split. So like half the panels are sort of by authors, and we have Bindery here who will talk about the future of publishing. There's some panels on like the craft of writing and being an author and publishing. And there are some panels about like reading and loving reading and recommending books. There are panels about being a content creator. So it's kind of like this really interesting community. And there are plenty of people here who don't do content, who just love reading. And we're all very much like on equal footing. Like you're not lining up and spending all of your day in lines trying to get like author signatures. Even though there are content creators here, there's not like a larger focus on them either.
Yeah, it's very community. Like last year was my first year, well, both our first year, but it was very community centric. I went in really knowing nothing about really the community. I haven't read as much prior to, whereas between this time last year and now, I've done the whole reading Lord of the Rings. I've been reading a lot more. So my relationship to that has really changed. So I'm actually really excited to engage a lot more with the people who are here and to see the friends that I made last year. It's just overall really good vibes, really, really friendly people, and it's gonna be fun.
And then we're also gonna go to Disney on Sunday. So we're excited for that. We're just doing Epcot though, mostly because I wanted to do Guardian. And then there are so many panels that I'm really excited for. There's also a game night. There's a prom, which last year I just went night swimming, which I kind of want to do again, but maybe I'll put on a pretty dress and like we'll take a photo or 2 first. I'm so mad though because I was so excited about the Sinners panel, but it's at the same time as one of my panels. Yeah, I'm like, there's going to be 2 people at my panel and everyone else is going to be at the Sinners panel because it's going to be awesome.
I mean, if no one shows up, maybe they'll move it.
Ouch.
Sorry.
No, but the other panel that's at the same time as my panel was one of the other ones I was really interested in going to, which is like Reading Under Threat, talking about like challenging book bans and stuff like that. But all the panels are really, really good. Last year, there was also like a community panel just talking about, it was kind of like about fan fiction and fan spaces and like how you came into the reading space. And like we just passed the mic around the room. And I know there's going to be another one of those this year that's about like hot takes. So that's going to be really fun. Last year, I ran trivia, which I did not volunteer to do this year because turns out it was so much work. So I'll either do some board games or I'll go swimming while Kyle does D&D. Okay, here's my little fit check. Everything is rented from Nuuly, obviously. This little denim dress is from Pilcrow, which is, I think it's like a subsidiary of Anthropologie. Then I'm wearing my dinosaur earrings. I forget where I got these. I think I got these at a farmer's market in Jersey City. And then just a bow and some blue makeup. It does have some good twirl action, but it's like in the mid 90s this entire week. And then it's going to be super intense air conditioning inside. So the outfits are going to try to reflect both of those things. Also, I brought 2 pairs of Crocs. I'm low-key becoming obsessed with Crocs again. I'll show you my gibbets when I end up wearing the pair of Crocs that has holes for gibbets. Okay, if yesterday was day 0, then today is officially day 1 of BookNet Fest. Yay! So last night we went to an Italian restaurant in Disney Springs and we kind of met up with some of the other panelists who were there a night early. It was so much fun. We ate a lot of food.
Too much food. We got a sandwich that was just a pizza folded in half.
Yeah, I don't know if we got a video of that. I think I got 1 pan of the table, so we'll have to see if we caught your giant pizza sandwich in that. But it was insane. And then we just kind of caught up with everyone. It was so nice to see people. And then we were apparently the tired babies of the group, we went back and other people were like shopping and like getting dessert and ice cream. We were like full and sleepy.
It was bedtime.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a 20-minute walk back here. So we turned around and came back. But I did buy a cute purple shirt because we're going to go to Epcot on Sunday and I wanted like a cute Disney thing to wear. Anyway, now it is like 9:30-ish on Friday, day one of BookNet Fest. We're going to head down. The hotel is a free breakfast. Then it's like check-in. There's going to be like a meet and greet. Last year it was a bingo where we all kind of got to know each other. Then there's going to be the keynote from Mari and Sam. Then I think lunch and then a couple of panels. And I'm on one panel today, which is RIP TikTok, long live TikTok. So I'm honestly more excited to watch panels than to be on a panel myself, just because I always feel like I take so much away from listening to other people share. And then when I talk, I just sort of black out and I don't know what happens at the end. Okay, here's my little fit check for today. This is a dress from Farm Rio. Obviously, I rented it from Newly. Do I even have to say that at this point? Probably not. Then I have this little star necklace. I have these book earrings, which I got from a mutual on TikTok who does these book boxes. Her name's Heather. I think the book box is called like Lavender Book Box. They're really cute. I end up wearing them a lot to book events. Then I have 2 friendship bracelets, which I got last year at BookNet Fest. One says Celestial, which is my bindery community, and the other one says BookNet Fest 2024. And then I am wearing my Crocs that don't have the gibbets on them. These are my Crocs that you can't tell that are Crocs, but I'm kind of obsessed with Crocs. I feel like...
Where's the ring from?
Okay, we're gonna go down to breakfast. Stop.
Be a little bit different than previous keynotes. We're going to go over what happened previously in the book meeting, previously on.
Thank you so much to everybody who has checked in with me today. The good news is that like nobody walked into a ball pit, right? Take this opportunity to network, to connect, to put yourself out there. I know for the most part this is a room full of introverts. That is true every year, but we're here for 2 days. Make the most of it. And the event is really now with you guys. I invite you guys to really, truly participate, meet your neighbors, talk, connect, use all of the opportunities that we have. We knew from the beginning that we wanted this to be an event that wasn't about readers meeting authors or people, being fans of other people. I was so many times at events sitting in the audience going, I want to take that mic. Like, I have something to say, right? But I wasn't getting invited to sit on panels because I was a small creator at that time. So we knew we wanted to be sort of platform agnostic and like it didn't matter what your platform size was. We wanted this just to be an opportunity where if you loved reading books, you could come here and be part of the conversation.
Has an author behaved badly? Okay, awesome. Have people said that audiobooks aren't reading? Awesome. Has Piper CJ done anything? Have people talked about during their brain off while reading? Yeah. So we're going to talk about that later. I think that's most of the big ones. We're keeping in mind that these things are cyclical. We hear the same thing every year. So that's why a lot of us have bookish bingos where we're like, oh, this is going to happen again this year.
Hermione. This has been kind of an ongoing topic. I think it raises some really interesting questions about intellectual property and fandom spaces and what the boundaries are here. And if you can even do this successfully, can you pull the foundation out of a house and the house is still standing? And that's really what we're asking authors to do when we're asking them to pull the IP out of fan fiction to be a new original work. But is it still giving her cultural support? Here, this weekend, Epic Universe is opening, and there's a whole new Ministry of Magic section that every time you attend or you buy merch, that's still money in JKR's pocket. We're getting a reboot of the Harry Potter series. And the reason that she can continue to do these things is because she's still relevant. She's still relevant because people are still talking about her works. And in part, that's partially true because of fan works. And so now there's this really interesting conversation about, can we support fan fiction? Can we keep her culturally relevant and still say that we're divesting from JKR and Harry Potter? So that's partially what's going on here with these reworked fan fictions. That the authors themselves and the publisher, because they don't want to get sued by Warner Brothers, it's no, it's a completely different thing. So these are the sell sheets for these 2 books that are coming out. And they have Harry Potter all over them. So the publisher is saying it's a completely original work. Also, here's how you sell it. With Harry Potter. The way that it's okay, so we're not divorcing these entities.
Hi, I'm Gracie, also Gravy Del Taco on TikTok. I also love to be in other people's business, especially on the topic of authors who behave badly. Beloved, queer, dark, paranormal romance author Freydie's Moon was exposed not only for their million known aliases, but also for being a white person pretending to be a Latin American mixed indigenous person. People attempted to call him out on social media, but the Freddie Moon identity had amassed this really large, loyal fandom that they weaponized all the time for no reason. This Freddie Moon, aka St. Harlow, aka Hunter Llewellyn, aka Hunter Taylor, aka Stacey Anthony, Jupiter Wise, aka Brooklyn Ray, aka Taylor Brook, aka Taylor Barton, had managed to gather this fan base that would go after anyone who had attempted to acknowledge it in any capacity on social media. This person spent years bullying people with their weaponized fan base, and it actually was revealed that on one occasion, they were in an argument and bullying one person as Freddie Moon and comforting that same person as St. Harlow. What a moment in time. Since last year's BookNet Fest, Freddie Moon has still unfortunately been threatening to release new work. They announced a black and white interracial gothic romance that features subverted master-slave dynamic. And recently, on their Substack blog situation, posted the following. Hola! Happy almost summer, mi gente! Later in the paragraph. Outside of family and the Moon catalog, I've also been working on contracted projects that have required a substantial amount of attention. It's a new world for me. A silver one, if I dare say so, seemingly connecting themselves to the entire controversy surrounding Silver Elite and that anonymous author. Silver Elite is the recent spicy dystopian that is advertised as Hunger Games, but spicy.
Most of you have heard of it. The new spicy, adult dystopian that's being comped to Hunger Games that meets X-Men or Divergent meets X-Men. I don't really know where the X-Men thing comes from. There are psychics, but I'm not really sure what that has to do with X-Men. This book, I started noticing a few months ago before the controversy and actually put it on hold on Libby because I was like, I feel like this is going to be something, and I was right. Main character, Ren, she ends up getting captured and then goes to this military school with all the bad people, and then obviously she falls in love with, the colonizer oppressor, as it happens in these kinds of books.
There's a pattern of behavior amongst authors who behave badly. They tend to bring up how they do not fit into publishing because they are white, because they are straight, and often because they are white straight men. But white straight women have been complaining about this for years, especially when they get in trouble. 90% of US publishing staff and authors were white as of 2015. So marginalized voices are consistently underrepresented in mainstream fiction and nonfiction. Despite this, we see instances every year, which I've been documenting them since 2021. And every time an author who behaves badly, I sort of put them on a list of, did they tick this box of talking about how they are marginalized or not wanted by agents or by the community because they are white or because they are straight or both. I did bring receipts of this. I blurred everybody out except Kate Corain. I was so nice and blurred everybody out except Kate. So Kate, when they were posing as a fake person who they blamed all of their crimes on, they said that the fake person went after people of color for shits and giggles. That was what Kate said about the fake person that they made up. And then when Kate came clean, suddenly it's, no, I didn't come after marginalized authors. That's not a thing that I did. And you said it when you were saying that a fake person did it. So I think that what was at play there with Kate was that something about them did think that marginalized authors, specifically in the case of the debuts that they went after, I think that they were worried that Molly X. Chung was getting more out of publishing than they were. So now we're seeing in 2025 that these poor men need their own publisher. We all know that they have been left out. With the election of Donald Trump, this is the first in an avalanche of what we will be seeing in publishing over the next few years.
It came out that they were using ChatGPT in order to make decisions about panelists. So, for instance, I applied to be a panelist at Worldcon. At first, it was kind of hazy. They were just like, oh, we used AI to help us. We got so many applications. We needed help, sort of sorting through them. And people were like, we did not give you permission to put our information into ChatGPT, and we're demanding to know how you used it. And so they actually came out and they showed the prompt that they were using. And essentially, they were using it to do research to see if any of the panelists were problematic. So for instance, for me, it would be like, check at My Name is Martinez, have they had any controversies? Are they problematic? Would they be okay to be on this panel? And if ChatGPT said, no, they're controversial, then my application would be denied. People were very not happy with this use of AI, especially like coming from the publishing industry, right? Because the huge thing here is it is still built on stolen work. So this has been a huge controversy coming out of WorldCon to the point that they're giving full refunds to people who are refusing to go. People are refusing to be panelists. Some people have declined their nominations from Hugos. The 2 people who were leading the Hugo committee resigned. Didn't say why, they just resigned after that, and so that threw everything into a tailspin. And I was telling somebody about this last night, and they said to me, well, they got caught. We have no idea how many people are doing this and never get caught, especially as more and more people think, well, I'll just help it do the things that I don't want to do, right? It can help me do that stuff. But a lot of what authors are talking about right now is that we are not too far from probably a big 5 publisher putting out AI-assisted books. We already have publishers who are publishing dedicated AI. I know a lot of authors got reached out to by this company who's just doing AI books. They're publishing 8,000 books a year.
Escapism, escaping into what? Starting off strong with like, what does escapism mean to you personally, for our writers? What do you think like that means? Are you writing for escapism or not?
I think escapism is a funny word, and probably a lot of different people have a lot of different definitions. I have the feeling that this panel is premised on the idea that people think escapism is bad, or that there's an idea that the word escapism is a dirty word or something. And I would 100% disagree with that. I think all fiction does and should do is drop you into a dream of something else, a different story, a different person, someone who's not you, being able to put yourself in someone else's head. And if you're very conscious that you're reading, you're very present of yourself, you know, something's going wrong. It's not doing its job. You should be fully immersed in what you're reading. And I think that is ultimately a good thing. I also come from what I've decided is a romanticist tradition, a capital R romanticist. The ultimate goal of romanticist fiction is to experience something sublime that's completely outside of yourself, and then come back and review and relive, and there's a lot of nostalgia. So I think having both those things is important. Being able to get outside of yourself, but also then coming back and thinking about things critically. So that's how I would define my relationship to that word.
For me, very many years ago, I read a book, and it said, if we don't give the children a place to dream a better world, how will we build a better world? And for me, I think that's what escapism is. It's where you go to dream how you can do things better or different, or like what the world looks like that we want to create. And I think you have to create that safe space where you can think about it and dream about it and look, where is this, you know, if I do this, like what would that change in my life? And so for me, that is just a safe space and you can kind of dream the world you want to live in.
I think that for me, escapism, I see it as a form of nostalgia. Oftentimes is revisiting something that really tied into a better time in my life. Just living through that nostalgia of that time. It brings me comfort. You know, I don't know about you, but you know, with the world going the way it is, sometimes I just either want to reread a book that I know that I enjoyed, or I want to rewatch a movie that I know the ending, that I don't have to be in suspense at the end of my seat of what's going to happen. And that brings me a sort of comfort, and that is my way of escaping. I go to something that I can predict. It could be because I am a control freak, but it really is about the nostalgic feel of being comforted knowing what the ending is in a world of uncertainty.
Who knows the direction in which TikTok will go these days? This is not inherently about TikTok being banned or anything. It's about our experiences on TikTok.
I was a consumer first. I was mostly just like on TikTok in general, just watching things. And then I started getting book content, I want to say like late 2020. And it was a lot of like the default BookTok romances and all of that stuff, Sarah J. Maas. And then I luckily pretty quickly found like the spot of BookTok that I wanted to be on, and I was getting a lot of that content, and it kind of inspired me to also want to talk about books. I've always been in online bookish spaces as like a watcher. I loved watching a lot of like old BookTube growing up as a teenager and all that stuff. So I've always wanted to kind of talk about books online, and this just happened to be the mode that started it off for me. I actually did start YouTube and Instagram first in the summer of 2020, and then I started making BookTok content in 2021. And then, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of happened, and I made a video about Jamila Jasper, and that really took off for me, unfortunately. If you guys don't know who that is, she is a somewhat prolific Black woman, white man, interracial romance. It's like a specific subgenre of romance that is very like fetishizing. And yeah, she shares the same name as me, so a lot of people tag me in her stuff. So that's kind of how I got my start on BookTok.
The way I'm immediately gonna go and find that video.
She also emailed me.
Oh,
yeah.
I got into like making book content because everyone in my life was tired of me talking to them about books and trying to make them read books. They were like, we can only read so many books. We have jobs, we have lives, we have to sleep and eat. And so I decided I needed to like get more people that could read the books that I wanted to read so that I could talk to them about them and find people that were reading the things that I was reading so I could talk to them about them. And so I started consuming like a lot of that content and then started just making it because I wanted to talk to people about books. I just wanted to talk to people about books.
Yeah. I think it worked out.
I think it did. The jury's still out.
I thought that I had missed TikTok. I thought that it was for the kids. I moved to New York at the very end of 2019 with my degree in musical theater. I did one tour, and then the world shut down, my city shut down, my industry shut down, and I was super, super isolated. So then I said, okay, I'll download TikTok, which in my head, I might have still called it like Musical.ly, like that was what I knew it. I was like, this is where the kids do their music videos. But I had been a content creator for a long time. I started my first YouTube channel, and I want to say 2006, 2007, I was in elementary school. I posted videos about my puppy and like music videos and acting videos. And then after that, I had an Instagram for my bunny for a little bit. It's still there. It's adorable. I just haven't updated it in many years. And then I'd always been a reader. Like I'd always loved reading, but it had always been like a very isolated thing for me. I'd been part of like my library's book club growing up, and that was really about it. So when I downloaded TikTok, I stumbled into BookTok, and that was what I had really consumed. And then I was like, I feel like I could give some better recommendations.
And you do.
Yes.
Yeah, they're really good.
And then I found my people too. So I got good recommendations, I gave good recommendations, but that was the first bookish social media platform that I started. And now I do things everywhere. And I probably scroll TikTok the very least out of all of them now.
When is the last time I was on TikTok? And so you're right. I want to make eye contact with a fae, and so I can say what I want.
Sorry, you're right here first. Jamila getting canceled.
I'm filming that. I'm filming.
Did you hear Jamila microaggress Naya?
I'm reading something because I'm going to make content about it. I don't consume reviews of it until after I'm done writing a script for the video because I don't want to co-opt language. So that's one rule that I sometimes set depending on which book it is. But other times I'm just like, I love this, 5 stars. Who else feels as giddy about this as I do?
When it comes to like making reviews, I don't have a lot of rules. I know a lot of people would be like, oh, like I don't post any negative reviews ever. I don't post about anything like 3 stars or below or anything like that. I am always like open and honest about all of my feelings, both positive and negative. Not really a rule, but like I tend not to leave reviews or like at least video reviews for books that like I feel like in the middle about. This thing like when I first started out that I am now like really annoyed about that I did, where I would be like, oh, like BookTok lied to me, like, oh, you guys lied to me when you said it was good. But the only times that like I'll say that someone lied would be like about advertising, like speak more specific about like what it is that I'm talking about. And I very rarely speak on like the fandom of it. Like if there's behavior in the fandom, then I'll talk about the fandom. But like outside of that, I don't ever do one of those things where it's like, who reads this? Who's liking this? Ew. I try to make it like as like book-centered like as possible.
I do agree that sometimes there are books that are like marketed one way and it's like, this is not that.
I don't really have a lot of rules. My main thing is I will write a good couple of paragraphs about it.
We're getting the conversation together. We are all here because we love books, but also because we share an online community. And so today we're going to be talking about how algorithms, how being online shapes who we are as readers. Our very first question is just kind of like a show of hands. Were you a reader pre-social media? If yes, raise your hand. Oh, okay. So now that you are both a reader and online space, do you feel like algorithms help or hurt your reading life, and in what ways?
Yeah, that's a mixed one, right? The algorithm thing, I actually recently made a video on this because I am not as clued into the algorithm as I used to be. I'm not as online as I used to be, even though I'm here. And so I feel like I am weirdly missing out on stuff. I had a better time when I was more connected. It was also a different time when I was more connected. We've talked about it this weekend about how the reading, the book quality has gone down a little bit for a number of different reasons. But being disconnected from the reading space has actually felt bad to me. I rely on you guys to tell me what's good. I really do. So yeah, there's ways in which sometimes there's a pressure, and I've definitely in the past when I first got into bookish spaces felt the pressure to read new things, and that wasn't bad. But now I'm okay, I need a little bit of guidance. I don't need you guys to spoon feed it to me. I just need to be okay, a few people I trust have recommended this. Cool, I'm not going to waste my time.
So in ways, I think both. It has hurt and helped. It helped me see the blind spots of what I wasn't reading.
It's day 2 of BookNet Fest. Yesterday was so much fun. We got a lot of footage of some of the panels, which you probably just saw. I was on one panel, and then after the panels, it was game night. I ended up not going to game night. I just went to the pool, and there was a little group just swimming around all night, which was really fun because it's really hot here. It's mid-90s. The pool was actually pretty warm, and it was perfect to just hang out there for most of the night.
I ran a Dungeons & Dragons one-shot. It was really fun. We didn't get through the whole thing, which I didn't really expect. I never can finish a one-shot, but it was basically just this big pirate fight, this pirate battle and ships and everything, and I had this whole virtual battle map that I was able to project onto the big screen, so that was really fun. And there were a couple people that kind of stopped by and watched for a little bit, and there's one guy that had never played D&D before, but he learned all about it and was oh, this is really cool, so we're giving him recommendations.
Just the group here and the community is so lovely. Everyone's so friendly. You can go and sit down at any table, and people are just very, very welcoming. We also had some good eats yesterday. We've been ordering food to the hotel. For lunch, we had these vegan burgers from, I think it was called Planties or Plantiles or something like that. I got this truffle burger. It was really good. And then for dinner, we got vegan Thai food, which was really, really good too. It's 9:30, so we're about to head down to the hotel, continental breakfast, and then the first panels of the day will start. My panel's not till after lunch today. It's about being a bookish content creator, but I'm excited to watch. We all want to have footage of each other, and then we just keep talking and we forget. Because there's just so much good connection and conversation here. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll do a little fit check and then we will move on with our day. Okay, this is another rental from Newly, of course. Very fun pink dress, and I'm wearing a pink bow. Kind of did a purpley blue makeup today. I've got my friendship bracelets on. I added 2 more friendship bracelets yesterday, which is fun. One says Bookish and one says Read, and it's rainbow. They're so beautiful. Then I'm wearing some dinosaur earrings, and I am wearing my Crocs. Kind of obsessed with Crocs right now, guys. Not gonna lie. They are so comfortable, and I love that you can add little gibbets to them. So that is my look for the day. Now we gotta go because housekeeping just knocked.
I would love to make a friend. I don't think I have just one bookish friendship story that stands out. So I met my first bookish friend not online, in real life. I walked into the library for a book club, and they were going around being oh, how did you feel about this book? And he was oh my god, I love this book, it changed my life, it was the best thing I've ever read. And he went to me and I was god, I fucking hated it. I didn't like it. And he was let's discuss. And we've been friends for 15 years. Yeah. So he saw terrible things in books.
I'm going to exclude everyone at BookNet Fest because I get emotional talking about the friends here. The first one, 2nd grade, reading the Warrior Cats books. She's still one of my besties to this day. I adore her. We still talk about our time playing Warrior Cats, out on the playground. But through social media, I met a twin flame this year where we bonded over N.K. Jemisin. And then just started exchanging voice notes about our lives. And we know everything about each other. He's proposing soon. We talk about how much we love our partner.
Can we play Warrior Cats later?
I have 2 bookish friendships where one of them was supposed to be here with me. We run a book club together. We've been friends for a while, but
It wasn't really until she read a horrible book and texted me, hey, I just read this thing that I think you'll hate, so you should do it. And I was like, okay. And so I did. And then I downloaded the whole series and read the whole thing. And we like buddy read them together. And like we've been best friends since. We were like regular friends first there. And then the books brought it to another level. And then, of course, there's Rachel, who I met online from reviewing similar books that we didn't like. It's always bound in hate, my friendships. But we're really obnoxious with each other. If you've spent any time with us at these events, we'll probably need some breaks. But she's like my chosen sister in this life.
I have two Bookish besties. One who is at the event but is not in this room. We met in 2016 at an indie event. That I don't think that event exists anymore. And the event was happening in the middle of a hurricane, as Florida is wont to do. So we briefly met there, and then we really reconnected the next year at this event. And then my second friend, who was not able to make the event this year, we met because of BookNet Fest. When it had first been announced that it was happening, everybody was like trying to find roommates. So that's how we became friends. And we had met in person like a couple months before the event. But we've been friends for so long, I can't imagine them not in my lives. They were both bridesmaids at my wedding. Like, we've had like such a great friendship.
Is this going to happen a lot? They say, oh.
Yeah, sorry, I'm too busy having an existential crisis about what is true.
You don't have to be like the expert in your field. You could just propose a pitch, and if your editor is like, sure, you can write it. And so there are books that I read that I'm like, why did this person write it? I don't think they should have. To name a very popular one, Sapiens is very, in the community, is not liked because they're like, it's not correct, and it's not, there's a lot that he goes off of that isn't like in the industry considered correct information, but I mean, that blew up like outside of, right, like its niche. And so there's a lot of people that read that book, and I think there's a lot of like industry professionals that are like, oh, this wasn't great. But then also to answer the question of how to check if a book is fact checked, I don't know if it's fact checked, but I will like read the blurbs. And if there's a lot of people in the industry that I've like recognized names, these are also fellow people in their like science writer or whatever, if I can recognize a lot of the names, then I'm like, okay, this is probably correct because enough people in their industry read it and thought it was fine.
This is a thing that has come up a couple times in Nonfiction Book Club. We've had a couple books where one of us wanted to pick a book, or one of us was like, yeah, there's other academics who like are not, like we just don't touch it because we're not sure.
You mentioned Sapiens, Gunships and Steel is also kind of considered that way. I think David Rainbow literally wrote a whole book on prehistory just to shit on it. That's something I discovered too, is how freaking catty. Outside of their little groups, they don't like each other. The point where Richard J. Evans is a really respected World War II history of it. I just read his The Third Reich trilogy, which was incredible. 2,500 pages that never went by so fast. He has a feud with another historian, Timothy Snyder, who wrote Bloodlands, and wrote him a poor review. I dig in a little bit and find out Evans basically admitted that his poor review of Snyder was because Snyder gave him a poor review. So I think when you're looking into criticisms of a book like Sapiens and whatnot, you also need to consider the human aspect. Follow the Dinosaurs by Steve Brusac. Excellent. He's a paleontologist, super fun book. Every time I got to a point where a question popped in my head, it was like he was reading my mind. Very engaging. And then he has a sequel to it, which is Bias and Reign of the Mammals, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I've heard it's also excellent.
Yeah, The Fossil Hunter is about Mary Anning, who was the first like, woman paleontologist who discovered dinosaur bones. The Monstrous Bones by David Rendell is about the history of, I believe, discovering the T-Rex. The Last Dinosaurs by Riley Black, the dinosaur artist, her name is Paige something. And then Why Dinosaurs Matter.
I have to. My friend wrote a book, Tales of the Prehistoric World, Adventures from the Land of the Dinosaurs by Callie Moore. If you've ever watched PBS Eons, she wrote a book, and it's cute.
Outside of books, I do adult coloring, I do video games, board games, and occasionally roller skating and inline skating and rock climbing.
I think the thing, other than books, I'm obviously most known for is board games, because I do a ton of board game content. I also play a ton of video games. I really love like Lego building, and I love trying new things. I'm not often good at the new things I try, but I love trying like new crafty type hobby situations.
I sell all my own clothes. That's my jam. Selling what my me and David knows. And this year I started embroidering. It takes so long, and I'm not patient, but I'm like trying to value things that take a long time and that you're patient about. I also love trying new things and hate not being good at them. It's really my problem. Like if I'm not immediately good at it, I'm like, this is stupid and I shouldn't do it anymore.
The thing that I'm most known for crafting online is I tear books apart and turn them into crowns. And I also do floral arrangements with book pages for weddings and things like that. I make ornaments and wreaths and mirrors, like the whole thing, using upcycled book pages.
I started teaching myself to crochet in November. It became a whole obsession for me. I also play video games. I don't know if it's a hobby. If it is, it's a privileged and expensive one, but I travel a lot. Does that count? It's like a joke with my friend group. If I text, they're like, where in the world are you right now?
I also have my pilot's license. That's all.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so it's not like, if like Smitty likes something, it's not like she does it, half-ass.
We're going to be talking a lot about content creating today. This is Booked and Busy. We're going to be talking quite a bit about content creating, maintaining your content creation, but also about the business side of content creating as well. So these are things that all of us love to talk about, so it's very exciting.
I ran an Instagram account for my bunny, which still exists. She did get invited to a Petco event with JVN, so that was like my first ever influencer event. My name tag had her Persephone Dahlia on it. And then they uninvited her because they invited dogs and they got like really worried about having a rabbit in the space, so she was uninvited from her first event. But I was there. I was always into books. Like around this time on the internet, I was running like 7 Warrior Cats role-playing websites. It might still exist. It was a free website. Got more and more book. I maxed out my library holds again and again, and then I was like a consumer of BookTok thing. I thought I had missed TikTok. I was like, well, I'm here now. I'm auditioning. Like, I'm no longer doing the social media thing.
One more. Ready? Yeah. Oh, that's too close.
Carl's actually taking pictures of himself.
We made it to the very last panel of BookNet Fest. This one is called Hot Takes and Hard Truths. So we wanted an opportunity to just kind of speed run some common topics in the bookish community and turn it over to you guys. Let's start with a classic that you think we should let go of. It's over.
Anything by Joseph Conrad.
Is it the Handmaid's Tale or is all the white women dressing like that?
It is. The Handmaid's Tale. It's the very much becoming the only book people have read kind of situation. It's kind of like, please read another book. A modern classic, something that you think is going to become part of like the canon.
A quarter.
Did you guys all get a memo to troll me?
Lock 2.
Yeah.
Jane is my personal Everett.
Yes. Replace Puckfin. Like a Lizzie.
Yeah. Give a Dragon's Breath. A movie or a TV show or an adaptation that was better than the book.
The Vampire Diaries.
Yes. Done with. I love how it's like immediately.
I'm so sick of trials. I don't want to hear it anymore.
The thing with trials is that, like, oftentimes they don't justify this. Like, why are we doing these games? Like, why is everybody just going along with it?
This is probably a hot take, but I'm kind of done with shadow daddies.
Opposite end of that, what is a trope that you are willing to die for? Okay, except for Stephanie.
So I don't love enemies to lovers unless, this is the one I will die for, it is the enemies to lovers where she is enemies to lovers and he is like, yeah, I hate you too, but I love you.
Maybe sometimes you should turn your brain on.
It's okay to admit that you like bad books.
Yeah. You're reading a monster romance and the monster turns into a regular guy for the sex, you just like regular romance.
Have you ever lied about reading a book?
Yeah. Not at school. Not at
school.
I lied about reading Red Rising recently to a man because I wanted him to like me.
Stream it!
I would also lie with that man.
Do you lend out your books?
No.
Of course I do. Books are meant to be shared.
What is a book that you think is meant to be read on audio?
The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson.
Yeah. This beer cuts through water.
Yeah. What are cyclical bookish topics that you are just sick of?
Audiobooks aren't.
How did you read so many books?
Yeah. You can't be retaining that. I don't retain what I ate for dinner yesterday.
Separate the art from the artist.
We're about to head out to the final event of BookNet Fest 2025, which is prom. So we are all dressed up. Again, this is a newly rental, but prom is from like 8 to 10 o'clock tonight. We had some more panels today, and then there was like a little book swap, but I just left books. I did not want to take any more home. I have too many, but I dropped off 2 arcs that are unreleased, so I hope somebody took them home and was very excited about them. Yeah, just panels. We had dinner. We ordered from this vegan hot dog cart, and then we got dressed, and it was raining for a little bit, which hopefully it'll be fine now, because honestly, I'm not really a dancing person. I don't want to go to prom that long. I want to go to the pool, and Kyle missed out on the pool last night because he was doing D&D. So we want to make an appearance. We want to see the photo booth. Maybe I will get some more people to speak in this vlog, even though I did capture a lot of footage of the panels. Off we go. Prom.
Hey, I'm Ray from @RayTheReviewer, and my favorite moment of BookNet Fest was getting to meet everybody and also speak on 2 panels. The Sinners panel was very fun, but the book banning panel got spicy, and I loved it.
Hi, I'm Kate at Kate Rates, and my favorite part of BookNet Fest is the incredible community and how everyone here just shows up for one another, cheers each other on, and supports us with anything and everything we need.
Hi, I'm Leah, and my favorite moment at BookNet Fest was going to the hobby panel. I thought it would be about knitting, and instead we cried about healing your inner child.
Hi, my name is Lonnie from Bookish.thought on Instagram, and my favorite moment was the panels. It's my first year here at BookNet Fest, and I met some really good friends who happen to live close by.
Hi, I'm Rainy from Rainy Blue Reads, and this was actually my first BookNet Fest, and I really loved getting to meet some of my friends from the BookTube space that I hadn't met in person, and I also just love a good game night. So it was just a really great experience overall.
I am Michael Kist at Kist Reads Books, and my favorite moment has just been how welcoming everyone in the book community has been and making new connections. It's been an amazing experience.
Hi, I'm CJ. I am the marketing director of Bindery Books. You can find me at bindery_books. And my favorite part were the incredibly insightful, thoughtful panels. Everyone is so articulate and engaged with what they're reading on a daily basis, and it was so fun hearing from new and old voices.
Hi, I'm Rachel. My favorite part of BookNet Fest is this year, as it is always here, I really enjoy that we get to do community conversations in person with everybody. There's just something is lost when we do it all online all the time. So being able to do that in person just makes it so much more communal, which is something I just long for so much and why I joined this community in the first place. So having that in-person element of it is just so special and something that really only comes out at this particular event.
My favorite moment of BookNet Fest is meeting all the new people here. Everyone is so welcoming, so nice, and I can't wait to read all the recommendations all the books that they recommended to me. I'm all over the place, but yeah, that's BookNet Fest, and I can't wait for next year.
Kyle kept trying to play Dancing Through Life. He kept getting booted from the playlist. We're leaving in protest. We're going to go swimming. Just kidding. We would have done that anyway.
I'm so mad.
But here's the fit. Because there wasn't a photo booth, so we didn't get a full fit check. We're heading back to the room because the pool closes at 11. So we're going to try to get changed and enjoy the pool for an hour. And then we're going to Epcot tomorrow. All right. I can't believe BookNet Fest 2025 is over. I'm home. I'm already feeling that lots of connection and community because it's just so good. It's so precious. It's something that hasn't really existed in any other book event that I've attended. And so I so deeply want this event to continue to be a success. I forgot if I showed my little haul before, but from Natalia, I bought a copy of The Follower of Flowers. I've read the first book, which is The Name Bearer, and I have a copy of the third book, but I didn't have a copy of the second book, so I went and I bought it from her booth. And then she also gave me these little goodies with it, like this pen. Look how pretty this is. She gives these bags as part of her little PR boxes, and they're absolutely stunning. She also gave me this butterfly keychain, which I immediately put on my keys because it's so stinking pretty. Like, how could I not? So I'm very excited about this. I also came home with many friendship bracelets, and I dropped $2 off at the book exchange, but I let them be. I did not take any home with me. I was so strong. But I dropped off 2 unreleased arcs, so hopefully someone was excited about that. They were arcs for July, and I was like, I know that I am not going to get to these in time. I have way too many other things on my list, so I hope someone took them home and loved them. Anyway, the dates for next year were already announced. I'll put them on the screen. I think it's May 16th, maybe May 15th and 16th. It's really exciting because the past few years, BookNet Fest has been on Memorial Day weekend, which is great if you maybe already have that holiday off, but really tough for purchasing plane tickets because they're more expensive because it's a holiday weekend. So I'm hopeful that these new dates will make it a bit more accessible for me because it has been a splurge. And I mean, I know that's partially my own fault because I've also bought Disney tickets. But Kyle and I got up and we rope dropped Guardians at Epcot. Amazing, 10 out of 10. Love this ride so much. And then we rode like pretty much everything in Epcot. It wasn't super crowded because it was hot, and Epic Universe had opened that same weekend, so I think everyone was there. But we met up with a big group, mostly from Mari's Discord. We all met up at the Polynesian and we had lunch there, which was perfect because that was the time of day when we most wanted to escape the sun. And then it's on the monorail, which is connected to Epcot. So everyone coming from the hotel had like a double journey because they took the bus and then the monorail, and then you had to like transfer monorails. But it was so fun. The Polynesian is such like a fun bougie vibe. We ate at Wailulu, which Kyle and I had eaten at in February, so we knew it was good. We got our tofu poke bowls, and it was just a nice chance to say goodbye in a smaller setting because we had missed saying goodbye to some people in like the chaos of prom and swimming and all of that. So we had a great big lunch. We took over 2 tables. A bunch of us went and got Dole Whip. It was just lovely. It was lovely. It was the perfect end to a perfect weekend. Please let me know if you have any questions about the BookNet experience. Consider me a BookNet ambassador. I would love to talk about it as much as I can. Whatever it takes to get you all there, because it's so special. It is so special. We're having conversations that aren't being had anywhere else. We're getting to know each other, getting to know the community in a really special, intimate way. And people aren't tiptoeing around topics. Like, we're all giving each other a base layer of respect, and we're able to have these really interesting and sometimes challenging conversations about everything that's happening in the book community. It's an experience that I'm incredibly grateful for. I'm grateful to have been a panelist, but I think I enjoy watching the panels even more because they're just incredible. And I have so much love for my peers and everyone in the space. And again, that's what's so special about this event, because I mean everyone. There's no weird separation between author and content creator and like reader / content watcher / just book enjoyer. We're all just part of one united community. I hope to see you all there next year.